up and welcome back to my channel. Now today I'm going to be giving a review for the science fiction film Rampage. Now this is based on a video game of the same name from Midway. You know, the same people that made like Mortal Kombat and so on, you know. And I think Smash TV if I'm not mistaken. But anyway, I do recall the game very well. You know, I remember playing it like I think on Nintendo, even like in the arcades, and I was kind of a fan of it. Not like a huge fan of it, but I do like know Rampage. You know, you climb up the buildings and smash them down and tear them up with the monsters. And you do play the monsters in the games. So it was kind of interesting seeing them bringing this into like the real world, into like live action, you know. So I thought that was kind of, you know, interesting that they would turn something like that into a movie. Now this movie stars Dwayne Johnson as a primatologist. Now the character that Dwayne Johnson plays, known as Davis, is a primatologist, and he befriends an albino gorilla, which he found like when the gorilla was still like a cub. He found the gorilla being attacked by some poachers, and like the actual poachers actually killed the gorilla's, I think, mother or something like that. But then he took the albino gorilla into his care, you know, and he grew it up, you know, and it grew to like I think adult size, you know. And he has always been friends with this albino gorilla, which he calls George. Now in the film, like George is affected with like this like experiment, you know, that turns him into like this huge like gorilla. Not it doesn't do it like right away, but gradually he gets like larger and larger and larger, and his body is actually even capable of regenerating itself. So if he get like hurt or stuff like that, you know, even like in like some explosions and stuff like that, not to spoil it, he can actually like regenerate himself. Now you don't actually get to see the regeneration, he just like heals over time, you know. Now at the same time that George is affected with this like mutation, you have other creatures as well, like a wolf that they call Raph, and then another creature which I think is like an alligator. I think it's called Lizzie if I'm not mistaken. Even that one is like affected as well with this mutation. And yeah, Lizzie is actually a crocodile, not an alligator. So you have like three humongous monsters who are running around, you know, like just destroying and tearing up stuff. And it is a reason why they are destroying like the city and stuff and so on, because they're trying to get to like this thing that's kind of drawing their attention. It's making like this loud noise, and they have to get to it and destroy it, you know. Now the woman behind these creatures being affected is known as Claire Wyden. And she runs like this corporation, you know, that has created like this mutation, you know, that does this to animals, you know. Because when the film opens, it does open like in outer space where you see like this woman on board like this space station that has been like destroyed by this like not this humongous rat, but it's like a large rat. That thing mutated, you know. And somehow she has to get like the remainder of the experiment off the space station, you know, before it blows up, you know. And she does manage to get it to, you know, into like an escape pod or something like that. But I ain't gonna touch on what happens though. But somehow the actual mutation, like experiment stuff, it actually lands on Earth, and that's how like George the gorilla, that's how Ralph the wolf, and that's how Lizzie the crocodile both get affected, and they become like super large and so on. Now you have Marlon Ackerman, I think that's how I pronounce her name, in the role of Claire Wyden, and she's the woman that's responsible for this infection, which has caused like George, Raph, and Lizzie, you know, to like become like supersized. Now you also have Naomi Harris in the role of Dr. Kate Cadwell, and she's like a former engineer for the company that Claire Wyden ran. So she's actually like a former employee who knew about the experiments that they were doing, but she was actually like fired like 2 years prior to this movie, you know. So she knows about the ins and outs of what was going on with the experiment, so she kind of have like an understanding of how to deal with these like massive creatures, and she teams up with Dwayne Johnson's character known as Davis. Now at the same time you have Jeffrey Dean Morgan as Harvey Russell, and he's a government official, well, government agent who works for the agency called OGA, and they're actually out to actually, I think, capture the monsters or something like that. Because at first he seems like kind of like a villain, you know, but not to spoil it, you know, he kind of like gradually, it is revealed that he really isn't, you know. He kind of teams up with them to try to stop down and take these like three large monsters down. Now you also have Joe Manganiello as Burke, and he's like the leader of a private military group. He is actually the group that led like the military group that actually went out into the forest to try to get part of the mutated like infection, like the experiment thing, you know. But then that's when they found like a large wolf, you know, Raph, you know, and it was attacking them and so on, you know. And I was surprised to have lethal Raph, the wolf was, you know, how like aggressive and like mean he was, you know. He was actually killing them, slashing them, and eating them and tearing them apart. I was surprised to see that this movie was actually on that level, you know. I didn't expect that, you know. Now this film was directed by Brad Payton, and like I said, at times, you know, I thought Dwayne Johnson was cool in his role. Naomi Harris, she was cool in her role. I also thought Jeffrey Dean Morgan, I thought he was excellent like in his role too, you know, where they were good, you know, he provided good comic relief, you know. But like I feel like it kind of dragged at times, you know. But whenever it's like action on, like when the creatures are like rampaging through the city, like tearing up buildings, even not moments like that when they're just there, you know, on screen, it is like exciting and fun, you know. It's like non-stop action, you know. Even I thought the visual effects of like the large gorilla, you know, the large crocodile and the wolf, you know, I thought the visual effects for them looked pretty good too as well. Like when they're destroying the city and everything, it looked realistic, you know. Even when you have like Dwayne Johnson running around with them and so on, it is still like realistic, you know. So I thought he did a good job with like that level of realism, you know. It did look real good. It didn't look too like CGI or anything like that. It looked pretty good. Another thing I thought was kind of surprising about the film, like I mentioned before, like with the wolf or Raffi, the actual like violence of it, that was very extreme. Like when it opens, you can kind of get an idea of how this movie was going to be. You know, it's like very violent. You know, you see like people getting ate up. You see like hands floating around, like head bloods and everything. You know, it's very violent. You know, like even the animals, like the monsters themselves, the creatures, they actually eat and swallow people and stuff. So I'm like, whoa, I couldn't believe how extreme and like violent that it was. You know, but in the end, Rampage, you know, I thought it was okay. Like if you're looking for a straight up like action film, like hardcore action, like explosions and got very violent, you know, this could have been almost R, you know, from my opinion. If you weren't careful, this could be like an R-rated film, you know. But if you're looking for like very like explosive, like action, non-stop action film, this movie is perfect. But it does have moments where it's like dragging, you know, and so on. And it just like I feel like it has some pacing issues, you know. But in the end of Rampage, I am giving this a C. Like I say, it's cool that it's big on action. The action scenes are awesome, you know. And even like the Dwayne Johnson, he was good in this role. Like the humor and stuff in the film was cool. The chemistry between him and like Naomi Harris and like other actors and actresses, I thought was pretty good. But I still feel like this film kind of dragged at times, you know. But then I am giving this a C for Rampage. Please leave a comment and subscribe too as well.